Hello and a warm welcome. This is the news on NTAi International, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. My name is Justin Bemuyi, and Courage Ogeria is the sign language interpreter. First, let's look at the headlines. President Tinubu inaugurates Wuye Bridge, commends teamwork of FCT administration in actualizing promises to the people. Iran opens registration for presidential candidates after death of President Raisi. And adjudication over federal government's move to guarantee total local government autonomy begins at Supreme Court. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. President Bola Tinubu is seeking for the intervention of leaders of thought in the country, including the Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, to prevail on state governors so they complement the national effort at improving the living condition of Nigerians. President Tinubu made the passionate appeal in Abuja during a meeting with leaders and members of the ACF, a political and cultural association of leaders from northern Nigeria. Details of this report will come in our subsequent bulletin. And President Bola Tinubu has commended the teamwork of the FCT administration in actualizing promises made to the people, specifically on infrastructure. The president, while inaugurating the Wuye Bridge on the invitation of the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says the landmark achievement will promote the economic viability of the nation's capital. Aisha Ubali tells us more.
Awarded in 2009, the project has finally been completed for the benefit of the FCT residents. While giving an overview of the project, the Executive Secretary FCDA Hadi Ahmed says the interchange links the various districts. Minister of State FCT Dr. Maria Mahmoud promises the administration's commitment to appreciating the support of President Tinubu, the legislature and all stakeholders for achieving such a laudable feat.
We thank all those involved in the provision of engineering and infrastructure in Wuye districts of our nation's capital city, Abuja. Your dedication and hard work have significantly contributed to the growth and development of our city.
Wike, while appreciating the president for taking out FCTA from the Treasury's single account, says that singular privilege contributed to the actualization of most projects by his team.
So you can imagine 15 years we are struggling to construct just one interchange. And you can imagine the hardship the people here had faced. The business activities, of course, will crumble. But to the glory of God, and by your determination, and that's why you have said that your intention or your mission is to bring back hope that have been lost. So people of this area will always appreciate you and thank you for this interchange.
President Tinubu reassured that the people-centered policies of his administration is to make the people have a better livelihood towards building a better Nigeria.
We are investing in essential services such as water supply, electricity, and road network. We are laying the groundwork for economic growth and prosperity, social progress, and improvement in the quality of life for all residents of Abuja Capital Territory.
In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTAi News.
Now, with the prospect of the blue economy raking in $15.5 trillion in revenue by 2050, Nigerian Naval will be fully equipped to secure the country's maritime space to put the nation in a vantage position of benefiting from the gains inherent in the blue economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima, while inaugurating 3 naval ships and helicopters as part of the 68th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy, says government will continue to place premium on improving the capacity of the Navy. Vice President Kashim Shettima noted that with the increase in the nation's naval assets, the wealth of the blue economy is secured, and this will be strengthened with the addition of seagoing vessels.
There is no greater incentive to ensure that the infrastructure and technologies at the disposal of the Nigerian Navy are of the highest sophistication than the successes we have witnessed in our anti-crude oil tape crusade since I assumed office in 2023. This has contributed immensely to the higher oil production levels we have seen. For this, I wish to especially commend the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, his officers and men.
Vice President Shettima, alongside Minister of State for Defense, Chief of Naval Staff and other dignitaries, toured NNS Kada and formally flagged off regional maritime exercise tagged Exercise Aubo Okun. Nigeria stands in solidarity with small island developing states, reiterating commitment to contributing to global efforts aimed at mitigating climate impacts. Minister of Environment Balarabe Abbas, who is in Antigua and Barbuda, representing President Bola Tinubu at the 4th Nations International Climate Conference, says the solidarity was necessary in the wake of the unique and devastating challenges facing the small island nations. He said the small island nations have opportunities to move forward towards a green economy as they possess both unexploited terrestrial and oceanic natural resources such as fish stocks, minerals, potential pharmaceutical products, renewable energies such as wind, sun, ocean, wave, hydro, and geothermal. He used the stage to re-establish Nigeria's stand in addressing environmental issues such as pollution and flooding, while empowering government ministries and agencies that are related to environment to implement robust waste management programs. And now Iran begins the formal registration of presidential candidates ahead of a snap vote next month to replace the late Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash. Candidates must be between the ages of 40 and 75 and have at least a master's degree, according to Iran's electoral law. Comfort Fashion has details.
Candidate registration for the 14th presidential elections began at around 8 a.m. local time at the Interior Ministry. Presidential hopefuls will have 5 days to register. The elections were originally slated for 2025, but were brought forward following Raisi's unexpected death on May 19. Raisi and 7 members of his entourage, including Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian, were killed when their aircraft came down on a fog-shrouded mountainside in northern Iran. The Islamic Republic's supreme leader has since assigned Vice President Mohammad Mokbar as caretaker president in accordance with the constitution. On Thursday, state television reported that around 30 people came forward to submit applications for candidacy, but none of them met the basic conditions for qualifications. A final list of candidates will be announced on June 11 by the Guardian Council, a 12-member body of jurists whose members are either appointed or approved by the Supreme Leader. Comfort Fashion, NTAi News.
We now move to South Africa, where first results have been announced from what is seen as the country's most closely fought election since the African National Congress ANC came to power 30 years ago. Again, Comfort Fashion has more.
With results from about 20% voting districts counted so far, the ANC is leading with 44%, followed by the DA with 25%. The radical EFF has about 9%, while the Umkhonto weSizwe Party, MK Party of former President Jacob Zuma, is on around 8%. Reports say final results are expected over the weekend. The initial results show that the ANC is suffering heavy losses to MK, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, where MK Zuma's party is leading with 43% of the vote to the ANC's 21%. Mr. Zuma caused a major shock when he announced in December that he was ditching the ANC to campaign for MK. KwaZulu-Natal is the home region of Mr. Zuma and the province with the second highest number of voters, making it crucial in determining whether the ANC retains its parliamentary majority. The ANC also risks losing its majority in the economic heartland of Gauteng, where the party currently has 36% to the DA's 29%. The key issue for voters were widespread corruption in government, high levels of unemployment, and rampant crime. The main opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, has signed a pact with 10 parties, agreeing also to form a coalition government if they get enough votes to dislodge the ANC from power. But this is highly unlikely, with the ANC expected to remain the biggest party, putting it in pole position to lead a coalition if its support does drop below 50%. Research has shown that South Africans do not directly vote for a president. Instead, they vote for members of parliament who will then go on to elect the president. So current President Cyril Ramaphosa is likely to remain in power. Comforts Fashim, NTAi News.
Elsewhere, Zimbabwe is seeking to ramp up gold output to support the ZiG currency that was launched last month. The country has been accumulating gold reserves at the central bank's vaults to back the new unit. A target of 40 tons has been set for the year, up from 30.1 tons last year.
Small-scale or artisanal miners, who account for the bulk of Zimbabwe's gold deliveries, have experienced a drop in production during the first 3 months of the year, owing to stoppages that were ordered after a mine accident in January. But they are confident of bouncing back if production incentives are extended and are accompanied by conducive conditions.
We're at 8.5, which would mean that by the end of the year, almost half year, we expect the figure to double to say 26 tons by the small-scale miners alone. It is also for the government to review the prices so that they are in tandem with the economic fundamentals and also the prices that are being offered in the market, so that people view or see that it is lucrative to take gold to Fidelity Gold refiners.
Authorities have also been urged to plug leakages that reduce deliveries.
Reports indicate that Zimbabwe loses about $100 million a month. That's 1.2 billion a year in gold smuggling. What we need to do is create a buying network across the country which wipes out the middlemen. We need people that can go around the country and effectively buy this gold from the source.
Gold is one of Zimbabwe's leading export earners, and is now assumed even greater importance given the role it's playing in backing the country's new currency. The ZiG in circulation currently is backed by 2.5 tons of gold and $100 million held by the country's central bank.
We should never increase the money supply in that respect before increasing the reserves in the first place.
Treasury has promised to maintain fiscal and monetary discipline to defend the new unit and sustain its value.
Now, coming up tonight at 8 o'clock is a documentary titled Reconnecting with the World, President Tinubu's Diplomatic Shuttles. Also a documentary featuring social security, First Lady's involvement, follows immediately at 8:30. Do join us. Now, this is the news on NTAi International. More reports after the break. Do stay with us. The Supreme Court has ordered the 36 state governors to file their defense within 7 days in a suit filed by the federal government on democratization of the third tier of government. In this suit, the federal government is seeking full autonomy for the 774 local government areas across the country. Delia Tumbi of our Judiciary Desk now reports.
This matter was filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, on behalf of the federal government as plaintiff against the Attorneys General of the 36 states on behalf of the 36 states governors as defendants. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice as the Chief Law Officer of the nation filed the suit on 20th May 2024. In the originating summons, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, is seeking full autonomy for local governments as the third tier of government in the country. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice is praying the Supreme Court for an order prohibiting state governors from unilateral, arbitrary, and the unlawful dissolution of democratically elected local government officials. The plaintiff is also praying the Apex Court for an order permitting the funds standing in credits of local governments to be directly channeled to them from the Federation account in line with the provisions of the Constitution as against the alleged unlawful joint account created by governors. He also sought an order of the Apex Court stopping governors from constituting caretaker committees to run the affairs of local governments as against the constitutionally recognized system. Besides, the federal government applied for an order of injunction restraining the governors, their agents and privies from receiving, spending or tampering with funds released from Federation account for the benefits of local governments when no democratically elected local government system is in place in the states. At the commencement of hearing, 28 states entered appearance while 8 states were absent. The Supreme Court ordered the defendants to file their defense within 7 days. The 7-man panel of justices led by Justice Garba Lawa gave the order while ruling on an application for abridgment of time argued by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi SAN. Justice Lawa said that the decision of the court was predicated on the national urgency of the suit and the non-objection from the Attorneys General of the 36 states of the Federation. Justice Lawa ordered that the 8 states yet to enter appearance in the matter as at Thursday's proceeding must be served with fresh hearing notice. The court aired the filing of all processes and exchanging of same must be completed within the time and subsequently fixed June 13 for hearing of the suit. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTAi News.
The National Orientation Agency, NOA, has issued a directive to all community orientation and mobilization officers in the 774 local governments to commit the newly signed national anthem to memory by Monday, June 3, 2024. The directive given by the Director General of the agency, Lanre Issa Onilo, is part of the agency's efforts to ensure a seamless transition to the new national anthem, which is part of the National Identity Project being pursued to promote national cohesion, unity, and a sense of patriotism. The Community Orientation and Mobilization Officers, COMOS, are the agency's lead officers in the local governments whose roles are primarily to enlighten citizens at the grassroots on government policies, programs and activities. The NOA is also working closely with the National Union of Teachers to ensure that schools across the country are mobilized to start using the current national anthem. NOA, as the custodian of the nation's symbols, has the mandate to promote and preserve the integrity of all national icons, including the national anthem. An initial takeoff amount of 50 youths are currently undergoing a 3-day training on auto-gas conversion of vehicles and generators in Abuja. The training, organized by the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, FIRO, Oshodi, is pursuant to the federal government effort to create a better transport system and a cleaner environment for Nigerians. Charles Affa reports.
Research and development has been the hallmark of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, FIRO, since its inception, profiling solutions to pending and anticipating innovative and technological challenges of the 21st century. This is why the initiative did not come as a surprise, with the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute, Jumai Adamu, at the forefront, providing empowerment of the nation's strong-based youth in the new technology of converting petrol vehicles and generators to operate on compressed natural gas. 50 youths comprising male and female, expected to train others for the next 3 days, will undergo rigorous training on introduction to gas value chains and the ability to identify CNG vehicles.
It is not everybody that will have money to go and learn how to convert the petrol vehicle to CNG. Firo has the capacity to train 20,000 youth. So we've started with Abuja here.
If anybody has been trained, you are empowered, and that will provide a source of livelihood.
What this training is, to me, is an eye-opener.
For the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Naji, building the capacity of the youth along the CNG line will address technological needs that will address environmental challenges in line with the Renewed Hope initiative of Mr. President.
You can see this is the palliative, the kind of palliative we are looking at, cushioning the cost of transportation. So if this is fully implemented, like we are trying to make it happen today in Firo, in this training, then everybody will start smiling.
Any alternative that will come to ensure that a layman or someone that is very low in income will benefit from this is a welcome development.
Adjudged as the most innovative research institute in Nigeria for 2 successful years, Firo is committed to utilizing indigenous technologies and raw materials in the development of over 250 technologies that are market-driven. Charles Alpha, NTAi News.
Without a purposeful and consistent effort to foster trust and build strong relationships at every step of the way, even the best designed and thoughtful engagement processes will fail or fall far short of the success one seeks to achieve. Now, this was the argument of the Director Public Relations, Nigeria Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapkwet, at the monthly engagement meeting of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, FCT chapter, with the theme Building Public Trust, the Nigerian Air Force approach to reputation management. Haman Jabani tells us more.
The importance of trust in all engagements cannot be undervalued as it poses serious challenges to those seeking to engage communities in an effective discussion-making and participation processes. This is why the Director of Public Relations, Nigerian Air Force, Vice Marshal Edward Gapkwet, who was represented in his presentation, says, in spite of the factors that affected the force's reputation in the past, a lot of strategies have been deployed in rebuilding trust that include limiting of releases of the Nigerian Air Force activities in the media space, third-party engagement, effective and strategic communication, among others.
Insurgency has made it necessary for us to participate in a lot of internal security operations, and the public must be aware of everything we are doing. We are to continuously build trust and let them know that we are doing all these things because of them. So we do this consistently. We talk less, but we do so much.
President and Chairman of Council of NIPR, Dr. Ike Nieleaku, charged members to live by the new dawn ideologies and principles while changing the narrative as public relations experts.
Professional value, reputation value, and financial value. Anything you are doing, please make sure, even in life, that these 3 values are represented. Remember that good people practice public relations, but great people belong to NIPR.
And in the place of public relations, it's not just about going for publics, it's about packaging relationship. Because the truth is, when it comes to PR, you are not just doing public relations, you are packaging relationships. And the power of packaging relationships is the power and the dynamic of defining the transactional currency of your community and of your society.
Some members commended the Nigerian Air Force for its contribution in the fight against insecurity, while appealing for a better synergy, for a better service to the people. Chairman of the FCT chapter inaugurated project and partnership, corporate solution, social responsibility and sustainability, and 2024 AGM committees. Hamman Jabani, NTAi News.
The call for a compulsory stress test for public and private buildings of certain categories constructed in the last 15 years has heightened following unabated incidents of collapsed buildings in Nigeria. And this was the thrust of a conversation at a workshop of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers in Abuja. Kelvin Onwaye reports.
The increasing cases of building collapse and its attendant consequences on lives and resources have been a concern to regulatory bodies, authorities and individuals in the built environment. Now, professionals are taking practical steps to tackle the menace with the first series of training by the National Institution of Civil Engineers rolled out. At this workshop, they are re-echoing the need for adequate enforcement mechanism, provision of building material testing laboratories in every state of the Federation, as well as periodic capacity building for all categories of professionals in the sector.
How do you assess quality of laterite that is good? Even you are constructing a road, how do you know that this material has a higher value of CBR values? People look at laboratory as nonchalant because they look at it as not an important factor. And for us in NIBRI, laboratory is area of strength.
Over 50% of the collapses, that the cases are not always reported. Statistics has shown that a lot of people try to hide what happens so that it will not come to the view or knowledge of the public.
The Institute has also resolved to collaborate with Koren at every stage of investigation to bring erring members and quacks to book to safeguard the integrity of the sector. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebunoye, NTAi News.
And this is where we end the news. Thank you so much for being a part of it. My name is Justin Bemuyen. Courage Ogere here has been the sign language interpreter. We say bye for now.